Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host John, better known as Dale Rownyack's Ben, with a fantastic show for you. Gardeners rejoice as garden plot deeds are introduced, current events make a return, and bug fixes and quality of life changes, and much more. But first, let me introduce you to my fellow host. He's a moderator over at MMO Champion. With the new plots, you might have to watch out for fireflies in the garden, but fear not. He will protect your land across Tyria and their dimensions. He is one of our Guardians of the Galaxy. Say hello to Jim.
One of these days I'm going to buy like the leather jacket that he wears, and it's kind of like when I had the Deadpool mug, but hi everybody. How you doing today? If you're in the Northeast US, I hope you're staying warm.
Yes. And I hope if you're somewhere on the Western Front, I hope you're safe and not having any of those problems. Oh boy. But we were talking all about that pre-show, and yes, I did remember to hit record, but thank you, chat. I'm even making double checking now. But anyway, let us jump right into it. So this past week we did get a patch update. Some nice quality of life stuff. We didn't get a new living story update, nothing like, but we did get a new current events. But like I said, let's get through like kind of the quality of life and like bug fixes and stuff like that for you. So first up, let's talk about fractals. So Agony Resistance now has a unique icon in the hero panel. So nice. Shattered Observatory increase the window of time to kill the temporal anomalies by 3 seconds in challenge mode of the arc encounter, which I haven't tried the challenge mode, but yeah, those things definitely were annoying in regular mode. But Twilight Oasis defeated and down players will now rally after each phase in the final boss fight. Nice. The 2 awakened abominations will now assist players in the beginning. Initial awakened allies have had their damage and toughness greatly increased. And remove the knockdown effect from Crushing Charge, greatly reduce the damage inflicted by Crushing Charge, and greatly reduce the initial impact damage inflicted by charged shot. So looks like bringing a lot of the new fractal instance in line. I guess maybe it was too hard.
It didn't feel like it was too bad, but then again, I think we only did
we did kind of like
the tier 1 version.
Yeah. But so, I guess it's a good change. Like I said, I haven't really got a chance to try it in the higher fractals to see if it was 10 times worse. But for tier 1, it was surprisingly challenging compared to the other tier 1s, which, so maybe, it was like that for all the other ones. But also the Nightmare Fractal increased the capture speed of capture points in the second event, decrease the area of effect, hazard damage, and speed in the second event, and decrease the time required for hallucinations to reappear in the second event, and reduce the health of Flesh Gorge. So,
is the second event where like
I think that's referring to the capturing the pylons or like the
right where it's got the 2 wings and then the big one in the middle.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's considered the second event. But so nice little bringing them in line. I haven't got to try them with the new changes, but yeah, should make it a little bit better for players to access it.
Honestly, the capture speed on those points, I think, is going to be the biggest felt change.
Yeah.
Because that could be a little onerous at times. Because the detection on the damage orbs, the collision detection is a little not fantastic at times.
I was gonna say, I'm kind of glad it says they decrease the area effect hazard damage, like, because I did feel like I was like there was nowhere to like splitting like between 2 of the orbs. It's like there's nothing I could have did or like, so.
See, I'm wondering if they're talking more about the explosions that line up on the sides, but
Maybe. I don't know, Chad. Anybody that's been in the fractals know better of like these changes? Because, like I said, I haven't had a chance to go into the fractals since then. But yeah, I think overall it's some pretty nice changes. Um, but yeah, so let's talk about some changes for the raids. Some general fixes. Oh wait, I'm not much of a fractal player, and not yet anyway. Oh, no problem. So with raids, fixed an issue in which the Hall of Chains raid incorrectly awarded experience for Central Tyria Mastery, but it will now reward experience for the Path of Fire Master track. So you don't have to worry, which that's nice. And Chad is saying the fractal is slightly easier now, which I could kind of get the sense of that from the changes, bringing it in a line type thing. And so, but yeah, so I didn't even hear about that issue with the raid, but I'm glad, it's now giving you the correct experience. But I guess if you didn't have that Central Tier Mastery track, it was probably great for possibly farming it or helping farming it, but unfortunately that was just a bug. Call of the Mists will now persist indefinitely in the most recent raid release. Additionally, Call of the Mists will now rotate every 2 weeks between all the previous raids.
Huh. What does Call of the Mist do in raids again?
I was just wondering that myself.
To the internet. Give me a second.
All right. But chat's talking about the 3-second addition to anomaly makes a huge difference for the challenge mode for fractals. So yeah, I could imagine, because those things were pretty tough. Oh, chat's saying it's the double gold.
Gold and XP are doubled.
Okay. So Call of the Mist, so double gold and XP will rotate every 2 weeks between all the previous raids. So I guess that is good for the farmers. Like, they'll be able to maybe get variety and not just maybe go after the same things over and over. So
I guess, I mean, it just kind of gives you something to work on. So, yay, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, I think it's good for the farmers out there. But yeah, also specifically with Spirit Veil, fixed an exploit that allowed players to skip a portion of the Run from the Spirits event. So that's always good, fixing exploits. I mean, and yeah, that's why I was confused by the Call of the Mist thing, because I know about the War v World / PvP ones, but okay, so it's just double gold for PvP.
Oh, was there some portal shenanigans you could do with the Mesmer?
Shame.
Well, I don't know. That's one of the things that it kind of always makes me, because I brought it up before doing talking about bypasses, because I played a paladin in World of Warcraft, Divine Shield, total immunity would let you bypass a lot of things, and then they started coding things around it, which makes it either you have to balance around that mechanic existing, kind of like the alacrity and boon duration problem that they had with Mesmers and Revenants, or Heralds, I should say, back when they nerfed Facet of Nature.
Yeah, chat's saying you cannot skip the part where you have to pick up the torch anymore. So.
Oh, okay. Huh.
But, I don't know. I think that's good. You gotta play the raid as intended, so.
Oh. Is it just the room where you pick up the torch, where there's just a bunch of trash and you could just run through and jump off the balcony, or do you have to kill that trash now? Is that what it is?
Hopefully chat.
I'm assuming QED knows, because he's talking like he does. So, one of my issues with skipping, like it was as a tank in World of Warcraft, people were like, I'll skip this. And I'm like, why? Like
Yeah,
half
and
the time
I've always noticed, like, more times than not, like, especially, like, with World of Warcraft and stuff like that. I don't know how often it happens here, but, you know, you'd always have, like, DPS that are, like, a long range backing up into trash. Like, it's like, oh, great. Well, we're fighting it anyway now. It's like...
Yeah, it's always one of my issues with, like, skipping trash even in Guild Wars 2 dungeons, where it's just like, you have to book it through and hope things leash back.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what if someone gets, like, just mistimes a dodge and they get immobilized or crippled or something?
Mm-hmm.
Just kill the stuff. It doesn't take that long. So, I don't know.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel bad for, like, Mesmers, like, after the balance update that kind of neutered them a little bit, I guess bringing them in line, and now it's like portals and, like, it's like I'm starting to feel bad for them.
Yeah, that's something that I'm not surprised that Mesmers are often the target for that because of just the nature of their, like, class theme.
If you can play the rotation well and whatnot, you're freaking amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was always the problem with it. But yeah, so some nice little bug fixes and stuff for structured player versus player. Team health bars are now visible in PvP maps. This can be disabled in the competitive section of general options menu. You can now sell tier 1 mini llamas to the league vendor for 10 league tickets, and the gizmo awarded for winning first place in the monthly automated tournament has been updated to Champions Burning Swords. So
Looks like they're changing it on a monthly basis now.
Which is nice. Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's
I'd
nice,
like to
but
see
it's not
a
enough.
different way for them to display it. Not like we've talked about in the past, like I think 100 times. Like
An
it's not
aura
just
effect, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm talking more. This is them introducing limited time window rewards. It's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
PvP needs more of it. And then the health bar thing, seeing health bars is a really good thing. I can't wait to mess around with that and see how that looks. So that'll be nice to see.
But well, that was kind of like it for the patch notes with the like bug fixes and quality of life stuff. But they did have like one little tag in there at the beginning of the patch notes saying like reports of undead attacking travelers near major cities have increased, and like that's all they kind of really said about it. But oh, actually, that's an interesting thing that the chat's bringing up. So, can we get health bars in PvE, like rating, for example, and stuff like that? I would say why not? I mean, if that's,
I really wouldn't have a single problem with seeing health bars floating over people's heads.
Yeah, especially for like if you're the healer guy.
Yeah,
if it's an option like it has in the PvP thing, I mean, you don't have to have it on.
But I get why. Yeah, this is definitely more of a test drive QED. I totally agree with that. I can kind of understand why they didn't want to do it in the first place, because it doesn't really fit with the aesthetic of the game. It just doesn't have the health bars floating everywhere. But something you could toggle on and off, something that maybe if you could just like press and hold a key and it would show the health bars would be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That, I don't think. Oh, go ahead, Dale.
No, I was just saying. I think more options the better. I mean,
there is an option for it. It just wasn't in PvP, I guess.
Oh. Oh, I was not aware of that. If there's already an option.
No, I think he's talking about it right now. No, I was talking about previously.
Oh, okay.
Like I was talking before, like did they have the health bar over people's heads before this in any game mode, or is this new?
I think it's fully new.
So that's my thought there, is that I can understand why at the launch of Guild Wars 2. Right, yeah, that's the thing right now.
Yeah, he's talking about before this patch.
I'm talking about beforehand. Like not having health bars over people's heads like other MMOs have. Like at launch. I totally understand why ArenaNet didn't put it in at launch like other MMOs already had prior to Guild Wars 2, because it messes with the aesthetic of the game. But adding it in now, I think, is a great idea, especially with toggles, with ways to turn it on and off, especially if they put a hotkey in to toggle it on and off. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with chat. Like the option should be there.
Yeah.
Ideally, if you want the clutter, then you can have the clutter. If you don't,
especially with how minimal the health bars are in PvP in the party interface, because it's literally just the class icon and then a green bar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of hard to like redirect your gaze all the way up to or down to the corner of the screen, depending on where you have it set up.
Yeah. But, I like what you were saying and what QED's saying is, this probably is something that they're testing that maybe they'll implement for all of game, which, but I think it's a nice quality of life update for people.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, let us go back to the current events thing. Like I said, in the patch notes, all it said was about reports of undead attacking travelers near major cities have increased. So apparently, there's been awakened attacks in 3 of the following they happen in 3 of the following zones at the same time, I think. Queensdale, Wayfair Foothills, Plains of Ashford, Gandharan Fields, Metrica Province, and Caledon Forest. So it kind of, seems like it's right outside of all the major cities, of course, as per usual. As always when there's an attack on Tyria. But, so basically they spawn hourly at 30 minutes past the hour, so 1:30, 2:30, so on and so forth. I think when you first do it, it will unlock an achievement, which is basically completing any of the events, and it unlocks the Portal Peacemaker achievement afterwards, which wants you to construct a device to detect the awakened portal evasions, which normally when you do this, it actually takes a day for, like, when you talk to the person to construct it. They say come back in like a day to construct it, unless you are an engineer, an Asuran, or a Char with, I think, Iron Legion background. They'll let you have it instantly. Which I'm curious, like, how you guys, how you feel and how chat feels about, it being that subset. I think it's a nice, touch, like a nice little bit of flavor for it, but.
Yeah, no, the fact that they're actually still, doing... I kind of wish they'd do more with that. I mean, that was one of the things I lamented when I played World of Warcraft, is they got rid of most, if not all, of the class quests that, expanded upon the lore of the class you're playing. So anything that builds off of the choices you make at character creation definitely makes it feel as though it has more of an impact.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and what chat was saying, there have been awakened in a few areas before the actual side story. Yeah, like, people were kind of thought it was a nice little thing that they did for players that didn't have POF. Maybe it had something to do with the story. Was, if you remember back in Halloween, there was an achievement to kill awakened, but that was a POF specific thing. If you only but they added awakened to, I think, the shores of Mount Maelstrom, I want to say. So maybe there was more to it than just, oh, well, throw people that only have the core game a bone type thing. Which, definitely nice if that's what they're doing.
This is a half measure. I want them to go back to the old living world and actually make the world live. I understand the time locking of the maps, but it's boring.
Yeah.
It's a poor way to tell a story.
Yeah, because a lot of people have compared this to the Scarlet Invasion thing. I've seen that a lot, and it does feel like that to an extent. But
What city are they going to blow up this time?
that's ultimately the question. Yeah, it's like, but it is interesting because it does stem from the first episode. So hopefully that means we'll be getting the next episode in February-ish.
Well, I was assuming that that's when it's going to drop, because remember when we talked last week about the head of marketing alluded to having a big update in February.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to assume that's the next Living Story drop.
Chat saying it's pure and simple racism. A Surin Char with an Iron Legion background. Or engineers, I mean. It's, okay, yeah, it's similar to the Mordrim invasion as well. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, they've done this a couple of times, like, it's probably one of the more easier things to implement of, like, random portals happening around Interior, like, because they've kind of had that system for Halloween. You had the doors, it's just, you had to activate them, so it kind of feels like it all uses some of the same tech.
Is this all, like, is there anything out of this other than AP, or is it just AP?
I don't think you get a special item out of it at any point, I don't believe.
Well, I was looking at the Delphi link. You do get an item that basically just tells you where the next attacks are happening.
Well, I think that's the portal device.
The phasic distortion radar or reader.
Yeah. So
I mean, that's about it, and that kind of.
Yeah, there's basically just achievements like zone defense achievement, fend off the awakened in each of the maps. But people are saying you do have to do a couple of the events there, like more than like 2 or 3 of them. I know people to get credit for like that zone, so you definitely have to be on the move. Chat saying you can farm 30 achievement points multiple times from what they understand. Yeah, I think it's the Portal Breaker achievement's 3 achievement points each time, up to 30 achievement points.
So you can do Portal Breaker 10 times.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah. Unless I missed an achievement that was 30 repeatably, but I think that would be a little bit broken.
A little bit, yeah. Normally stuff that's 30 AP, that's like the get all the ascended gear achievement. I think it's like one of the higher end investments.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly what QED said. It's yet another random item that is clogging your inventory. So,
but I mean, ultimately, are you happy they're kind of doing these events like outside of Living Story?
I'm happy they're doing them, but I feel like they're a bit more lackluster compared to me getting into at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
I agree. I know we all don't want to go back to fixing signs.
Yeah.
Sorry to give you flashbacks, but I want the world to grow. I've lamented constantly about the scorched earth game design that Blizzard uses for World of Warcraft. Now, because of the dynamic level system with Guild Wars 2, it's not as bad because there are always people on other maps. But eventually it's going to get to a point where we have all these maps and the player base is so spread and then just so concentrated in the newest map that the rest of the world seems dead.
And that's one thing that's in the back of my mind that, like, I think like chat's kind of hitting on. It's like, they still have the Shadow Stone that they have no clue what to do with type thing. It's like, is this gonna be another fractured story? Like, because we've heard that in the past where they're like, oh, that's, they talked about it with like Malik. It's like these storylines aren't gonna go, certain things aren't gonna go anywhere just because of development time and stuff like that. It's like, is this stuff gonna end with just out of nowhere? Like, are we just?
Wait, have they stated they've totally given up on Malik?
I mean, it seems very unlikely now. I think around Hot they were talking about that storyline was basically, I think they had slight plans to do that with Heart of Thorns, but that was kind of thrown to the wayside with time and stuff.
Aaron, it's not so much that I know the new shiny thing, the latest update to a map is going to have the most people because it's the new thing. But if we get 4 or 5 new maps every expansion, a brand new map every living story update, that's 10, 12 maps an expansion. If they're going to be making all of the maps gigantic, like the Path of Fire ones from now on, which they have to basically account for mounts going forward. They basically have to design all maps considering all of the movement options we get moving forward with every expansion. The world is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the player base either needs to expand to fill it so the maps don't seem dead, or the player base will just get spread out and more nebulous across the rest of the world, and the only area that's going to seem active is the new zone. So, well, that's people that
there's no winning either way, because that is a point. Like, what was it, during the first Halloween they added new events and stuff like that, but they didn't say like go here and do, like, they didn't shove your face in it. They were just like, we added new stuff to the world, and people were like, I didn't see it. You didn't. I didn't see it. It's like, so yeah, it's one of those things where they're not gonna win either way.
And I'm not saying never add a new map either. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm just saying they shouldn't throw away the option of updating an old map instead. It doesn't always have to be a new map. So that's more my opinion there. And a growing, like, it's definitely avoidable. I mean, we've just been talking about this. Like, you can update old maps, and they did that. And that's what Season 1 did. They also added new maps during Season 1. I know I've heard from Deo that South Sun Cove wasn't exactly the best new map addition, mechanically speaking.
It was also the servers weren't ready, I don't feel like.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where I'm not saying don't expand the world, but don't forget your existing places. Don't forget your existing storylines. You have a world that, honestly, when I first started playing Guild Wars 2, NPCs moving around and talking to each other felt really new to me. Because I came from World of Warcraft, where if an NPC was useless, it usually didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Stormwind was dead if it weren't for the players. It'd just be shopkeepers, and that's the only reason those NPCs existed half the time. So, and yeah, Zachary, I'm talking about clean up the Nightmare Tower. Like, have an effort that actually fixes all the crap there. Have an effort that fixes Fort Selma. Clear away the Mordrum vines. But I feel like I've gotten us way off topic of current events, so
no,
I'll hold that until after show. Because I also wanted to talk more about the health bar stuff, but
but yeah, I see QED's mentioned this, and I've seen a couple people mention about it, like the scaling thing of them, especially in like newer zones, since these are the starting zones. So like a lot of people can funnel into them. It's hard to get this participation for these achievements, it seems like.
Wait, so you have so many people there that you can't get participation? Is it scaled poorly so you can't get hits on stuff?
When I went, it wasn't too horrifically bad, but I have heard the issues of, I think like what you're saying. It's like I think I've seen screenshots of like they kind of stay as like gold tier and not
Changed from yesterday's patch.
apparently they fixed it. Okay. Well, hopefully they fixed it and fully. Like I said, I was gonna say I think that was early on, so yeah, it might be.
Well, I'm just gonna hit the patch notes.
Yeah.
Fixed an issue that prevented seeds planted in char home instances from appearing. LFG. Yeah, I can't. Yes.
Yeah, like
Fixed a
QED's
bug that
saying,
prevented players from being fixed a bug that prevented players from being properly rewarded for defeating champion enemies in Awakened Invasion events. That was on the 11th.
Okay, well that doesn't necessarily mean that fixes the problem, because like QED saying the number of mobs as well as their health don't scale.
Yeah. So I'm guessing it's more tagging the champion that is the issue, but if it involves other creatures for the other events, because from what it was saying, I was reading the event description of the Dolphy page, that it's like a bunch of veterans spawn and then the champion spawns in. So if the veterans all just kind of fall over very quickly, if it doesn't scale properly, I can see that still being a problem. Which
is kind of sad to hear, because it's like we almost sound like we have another Guardians get your loot stick, even though that's been nerfed. Get your loot tome.
No, that's what
tome.
I get my my flamethrower on my engineer. That's the loot stick now.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, the vets are irrelevant. Okay.
Well, I think it should all scale. Like, if there's a lot of people there, don't put vets. Make them champions and
make them elites.
Or yeah, elites. But yeah, hopefully they get that sorted out, because I think that's the other issue is you kind of go back to the bandit things and like no one does them anymore, and it's like no one, like they don't scale down far enough for someone to do it. So you have like people in the starter areas that are just getting ripped apart, which I think is I think it's a good thing, because eventually they despawn. It's like you don't feel like you can just rule everything from out of the gate. There's something that's gonna smack you back in the face. So while I do like it, I can understand people's like there's no chance of, like, it's tougher than the world boss in God Lost Swamp. Like, it's gonna pose a big. I
feel like I'd be more likely to solo the crap. I can't remember the name of the boss in God's Lost Swamp.
Shadow Behemoth.
Shadow Behemoth. I feel like I could solo Shadow Behemoth faster than I could fight an executioner.
Yeah. So, but I definitely think they need to kind of look at both event scaling and descaling, based on the number of people. But it looks like they're trying to make valiant attempts at it, which that's best you can do. I mean, but any other thoughts on the current event and maybe where it goes? Because like we said, this is what looks like the Awakened basically coming through these portals that we were dealing with at the end of the story.
Part of me is really hoping they destroy another city.
Or like maybe take over or occupy a spot. Like
part of me really hopes that they destroy another city in a big event, because I loved Attack on LA. Absolutely loved that event. So I would be totally okay with seeing something else happen like that.
Yeah, like what if like they somehow invade like Divinity's Reach, and then like it like overtakes it, but then we eventually like push them back to maybe like one of the sections of a Divinity's Reach, since we could easily block it off, is like now controlled or represent. Oh, Oh, the Awakened and Joko truly take over the Alonian district because they are the Alonians. Like, they want their representation in a, you know.
Okay, yeah, that's getting a little down the rabbit hole, I think, but I kind of dig the idea.
Yeah. But, you know. I definitely want to see, like, more, kind of like what you're saying. Try possibly having that feeling that we could lose a city.
Well, that and some of the city maps would be fantastic for fight sim.
Yeah.
So they just have some of the most interesting layouts of some of the maps. Can you imagine fighting in Radisum?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could see, like, oh, you walk past an area and suddenly Awaken, like, claw their way up from beneath Radisum, and you just see them crawling up over the railings from the jungle below. Like, that'd be cool.
Awesome. So, yeah, I hope the invasion goes to a point like it's attacking maybe all the cities or something like that. So you have each of like maybe all the cities are in jeopardy or something like that. Oh, what if they bring back like a voting thing, like how we had to vote for Ellen or Nashblade? Like, what if it's like we only have enough forces to save all but one city, and one will be lost? Like, I don't think they can do that because of the whole locking thing and new players, but that would be kind of crazy if we had to make that choice of like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Baron. I doubt it too because of the whole. Yeah, we're just gonna time lock old maps. But
yeah,
I really enjoyed that, and I would love to see Attack on LA again.
QD. What's that?
Well, it's just seeing a capital city get attacked. There's a huge feeling of investment there because people spend a lot of time in the capital cities because they like them. Mm-hmm. So, QED, they're never going to put a hub city in one of the expansions. They're not going to take us out of the 6 main cities, ever.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of thought that Amnoon could be, but then I realized, no, they're not going to push people out of the 6 main cities. They're just not. They've basically made an arbitrary decision to say that these are the 6 places where there will be trading posts and banks and crafting access, etc. That's it.
And bring Camadon back.
No Spamadan. No.
Oh man. At most, I see them doing something like with Lake Doric release, where a city gets attacked, but in an instance, never open world. Yeah, where it's like from. Once again, yeah, it's time locked. Where it's like when you go into Lake Doric, is still getting attacked from Divinity's Reach is still getting attacked from one side, but
from White Mantle.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the unfortunate thing that we have to, deal with, I guess.
And see, that's the other problem is if they didn't have so many maps, it would be a lot easier to address events as they move forward in the story. Like if there were fewer maps that involve White Mantle enemies, there wouldn't be as much White Mantle there wouldn't be as many zones to update. Mm-hmm. To say, oh, the White Mantle are gone. These are just like splinter forces that are still trying to do something for some dumb reason. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll know soon. Like we said, possibly maybe February of where this story is going to take us. But let us talk about Gemstorm, Blackline chests, all the fun new stuff that came with the patch from that. And always thank you to Dolphy.net. Check out Dolphy.net so you can spend your gems more wisely. So first up, let's talk about the... we don't have a thing for this but a new customer appreciation package containing 1 Blackline chest key and 1 Blackline chest. It is available in the gem store for no cost for only this week. So definitely pick it up if you haven't. It's limited 1 per account. It's only available for Core, Heart of Thorns, and Path of Fire accounts. So no free, free play for free accounts. So you can't farm them that way or anything. First, it's free, kid. Yep. So
for taking a risk.
Mm-hmm. But what can you? We'll talk about what you can possibly get in the new Black Lion chest. But first, let's talk about the Black Lion Garden plot deed. It's a. I guess we mistyped on the notes. It's 1,000 gems each, 2 per account, and you can see here Dolphy's kind of showing off the video for him. But you can buy 4 spots for planting seeds per plot, so total you can get 8 if you buy both plots. You can harvest them daily. You can buy seeds from the gardener near the plot. Some of the seeds need to be unlocked by harvesting various plants in the open world, and a collection unlocked when you buy a point. It's not worth any achievement points, but it unlocks recipes to make guaranteed dyes with exclusive colors, or guaranteed dyes. The exclusive colors obtained through the gem store dye kits are not included, and you can also craft 2-hour food and utility primers, which we have the recipes here for them. You can see them here. You can do the utility primer and the metabolic primer, and that uses the different plants that you can get out of these things, and a jug of water and a pile of crystalline dust. And you do have to be, I think, at least 400 artificer to make these. But basically, if you farm these every day, these plots, you could get them within 4 days and make one of these. And these will grant your whatever buffs you, food buff or utility buff you have, will boost it up to 2 hours instead of maybe 30 minutes or 1 hour, depending on your food. But
I have thoughts.
I would say my question is, a lot of people have been wondering, is this pay to win? Is this, all that stuff?
It is.
Is it?
You're paying for a constant flow of items that you can sell in game for money.
I don't think these are sellable.
The items that you harvest from them?
I don't think
the crafting materials?
I don't think you can sell these.
Can you deposit them in your crafting inventory?
No. They're not in your crafting material as of yet. But I think people have said that if you do have someone, and maybe someone in chat has done this or checked on it, or it's been updated, but I'm pretty sure people have said if you have a friend that has this plot, you can also gather them as well. But I think these are all account bound.
So when I read about it, it seemed like it was stuff from like crafting materials, not unique things.
I think you do have the option, and maybe I would say, I think chat's saying they don't have a problem if it's not sellable, which, I don't think they are. I thought originally when I did read about them, it did sound like you could put other, like, Tyrian herbs in there but I don't think that is the case.
All of the seed items are just crafting materials that you can, they're cooking crafting materials that you can harvest all across the world. There is nothing unique here.
I know it said some of the seeds need to be unlocked by harvesting the various plants in the open world. That's for the collection, I believe.
Right. And that's for like doing the collection to get stuff, but I'm not. Yeah.
Okay, it's just customizable harvesting nodes. So I think you can put the other ones in there if you so desire, or you can leave these like standard ones in there to get last utility primers and metabolic primers.
Yeah, so you can get standard crafting materials out of this.
Yeah.
So this is much like the hunter's board. This is I mean, I know you always make a face whenever I mention the Watchwork mining pick that I have. This is worse than that.
Yeah, you're getting more shots at armor or at stuff, but see, and I think this brings up the good question because everybody always says, "Is this stuff pay to win?" By other game standards, I would say no, because this doesn't give you better armor, this doesn't give you better stats, this doesn't give you anything better. But I think what we have to start looking at is Guild Wars 2 isn't about having the better stats or power or
because there's a hard ceiling to it.
Yeah, like it's about and I know people get angry when you say it's only about Fashion Wars. It's not, but that is one avenue for the end game is getting your desired look or ease of these consumables and stuff. So if that is the true end game / power, wouldn't this be paying for said power? But that's a question I'm throwing out to you and also chat. Like that, I think is what we have to define.
And yes, Zekrio, this is, I never know how to pronounce your name. I don't know which parts to actually say. The primers do increase the durations of foods and utilities, but you are gaining the ability to stockpile something that you can buy on the gem store. I think the ones on the gem store are like the 12-hour ones, but still, you are gaining a way to stockpile things to extend the efficiency of an in-game gold sink. Buying food and utilities or crafting them yourself for raids and dungeons and fractals, and for WVW at that matter, that's part of the gold sink of the game. You are paying gem store money, you're paying gems to bypass that. And yeah, I know people always say, but you can just do gold to gems, but ArenaNet knows that.
Or what about the people that say, well, the conversion rate, like how many times you'd have to do this to make your money back type of thing.
And the thing is, with something as malleable as this, you can change it to follow market trends. The same with the Hunter's Board, is you can change it to follow market trends.
Mm-hmm.
So not only is like me buying the Watchwork Sprocket node and me having the crystal node in my home instance and the candy corn instance, I can't change those. Supply and demand for those items will rise and fall, and I can't do anything with it other than hold on to those items and wait until they can sell high. But stuff like this is you can react to market trends by changing what you're harvesting from them.
Yeah.
And see, you're even talking about like pay to win on this. Account upgrades are pay to win. Remember when we were doing the fractal and I looked at the account upgrades for the fractal stuff that they added? Mm-hmm. And I was over the moon for the account upgrade stuff for the fractals. That's great for fractals. This is an account upgrade. All of your characters now have access to this. So this is just flat out adding a crap ton of power to your account for gems. But my two problems with this are, first, they are woefully mishandling the home instance. The home instance is so cluttered with stuff, and people make it a goal to get all of the stuff for the home instance, and I think that's great. Like, that's a great goal to have, regardless of how much money you have to spend on it, because Zekriox just said, I got lucky and got the iron node from a Black Lion chest. That sells for what, 3,000 gold or something dumb? Like, the ore nodes sell for a stupid amount of money on the trading post. It's going to get clogged. But they have this fantastic tech that allows people to place things in an instance that their guild calls a home. I've been saying this since they introduced the guild hall and they keep adding more and more stuff to your home instance. Give us Dragon's Watch guild hall as a home instance. Have Dragon's Watch go out, take a place, call it their guild hall, give it to you, the commander, as a home instance, and give you the ability to place all of your stuff. Like you can place your nodes, your Christmas tree, your chests from all of the Heart of Thorns maps.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and chat's saying they reduced the price drastically after their chest update. It's like 500 gold, which probably explains, because I was just going to say, which we'll get to, it's either, what you were saying, 3,000 gold, or I think it's 100 statuettes, which we'll get to that in.
Yeah. But my second issue with the home instance is, remember, the whole thing with the customer appreciation package I mentioned, I said the first hit's free for a reason. Because one of the people who usually shows up for Zero to Hero, Dvantaman, he asked me about it, and I kind of went into this long ramble about it. But that's kind of what happens in WVDub is, kind of ooh squirrel as the Zerg goes that way, and then you kind of lose your train of thought. But I would not know that the home instance is a place where I can collect things without my season 1 stuff. The Sprocket node, the Quartz Crystal node, the Candy Corn node. I wouldn't know about it unless I had played back then and got it. They are woefully mishandling the home instance stuff in a second way, in that they are locking all of a large chunk of it behind Gem Store. This garden plot, if they would have added like a garden or like a pot for you to work out of or something, little minuscule, like kind of reduced value version of it that just kind of came to you via a collection in the game. And then you talk to, oh yeah, I need an investment of gems to trade in with the Black Lion Trading Company, and I can expand this into an actual plot. Your gardener would say that, and then, you'd click an option in a chat window with him, and it would just pop up Black Lion Trading Company gardening kit. And you upgrade your plot through the Black Lion Trading Company. So the whole point, it's not, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. The problem I've been having, and this is something I said on Zero to Hero this past week, is gaming companies are not leading people to water. They are throwing the bucket onto the horse. They're just kind of tossing water at the horse and hoping some lands in the horse's mouth. What that means is they're hitting us over the head with monetization over and over and over and over again, and not leading us to it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not saying, hey, here's what this can do for you, but you can kind of upgrade it and make it a hell of a lot better if you pay us a little bit extra.
Yeah, and
that's good.
Well, I was gonna say, I think Chad, that's what Jim was talking about, was like using the guild hall technology, working into the story of having not Destiny's Edge, Dragon's Watch, getting their guild hall, but it's going to be like basically home instance that you could manage. Or
even upgrade the regular home instances with the guild hall tech. And the only placeable items you get are the nodes that you require. At least then I can figure out where to put everything. I mean, sure, there will be some people who just put everything in one spot. Whatever. Like, you just go to one spot in your home instance, you loot everything, you leave. That's fine. Because there are people who do that stuff with their guild hall too. It's like they barely use it. So it's one of those, yeah, but they don't want to. That's a whole nother issue, Zachryox. No. Mm-hmm. Get to that later. But
that's a horrible balancing act that the devs have to deal with. Like, yeah. I see you know.
But But the whole thing with the first hit's free, that's why I brought up the whole, I said on the show last week that the armored or master mount skins that I had mentioned is, you finish a mastery track for a mount, you unlock a collection that gives you an armored or somehow better mount skin. It's one mount skin. There's just one. But in order to change it, you have to go to the mounts tab. You have to click on your mount, you have to select the new skin, and then you see all of these other skins that are available. Well, how do I get those skins? You click on it, it says you could buy these in the Black Lion trading post. Lead people to things. Don't hit them over the head with it. That way, despite the fact that you were saying, hey, here's an idea, people think that I had this idea. No one presented this idea to me. I saw it, and I made this choice myself. Which still seems kind of shady, but I mean, marketing in general is kind of an issue that it's like, yeah, Zekriox, it's kind of, you don't want everything to be one. I think that was the problem with Guild Halls and Guild Wars 1, wasn't it, Deo? Is like Guild Halls and Guild Wars 1 had everything, and people didn't have to leave them.
Yeah, that's ultimately why they were trying to steer away from doing that kind of thing for Guild Wars 2. Was it somewhat turned the... It did and it didn't. I mean, it was hard to notice just because of the instancing of how Guild Wars 1 worked, but, it probably turned the towns into more ghost towns than they wanted them to be. But yeah, so...
But my whole point there is that just marketing in general can be kind of shifty in general, but you're kind of trying to abuse psychological processes in order to get people to buy your stuff. So,
and ultimately, it's a balancing act. It's like we're saying, it's, while they could throw everything into the guild halls, that would then probably ruin the experience for the people that don't have the guild halls.
And it's the same thing for a lot of the gem store stuff, but, well, no, not quite the same with the gem store stuff, but I wanted to get back to gem store because we've been going on about this, and I've been complaining about the plot for gardening. And then I even got to mounts, so this is a ramble worthy of the after show, so I apologize, chat.
But, yeah, also in the gem store, you can pick it up till Tuesday, the Shattered Bloodstone Ascender combo pack for 700 gems. So if you want that, definitely pick it up. That's a returning item. But also in the Black Lion chests, now they have a guaranteed mini yellow jackal pup. So every time you open up a Black Lion chest, you're going to get a mini Black Lion or mini yellow jackal pup. But you can combine these similar to the raptors, if you remember, into the Mystic Forge. So 3 yellow jackal pups with 2 unidentified dies will give you 1 red jackal pup. Then 2 red and 1 yellow and 4 unidentified dies will give you blue one, so on and so forth. Basically, if you're trying to get all of these, you're gonna end up like getting you're gonna need a lot of chests opened up.
You need 73 yellows to craft the top tier.
Yeah, the Stardust one that you can see in the right next to us.
Now I do have a question. Is it's saying that you throw these into the Mystic Forge, yeah?
Yeah.
So does that mean you get the unlock for the previous ones if you don't throw it in the wardrobe?
I would assume so, because that's usually how the Mystic Forge works. So I'd be amazed if it didn't.
So at most you have to open 73 Black Lion chests for this. I'm actually logging in game right now because I can't remember the values on the packs for Black Lion keys, but I'm kind of wanting to work that out. So let's see here. Black Lion keys, you can get 25 for 2,100 gems. So to get the most bang for your buck, you have to buy 3 sets of that, That's
Chat's saying you didn't get them unlocked when you did that with the Raptors.
Okay, so that makes it worse. That means you have to buy more. Just to get the top tier one, then the top deal for buying gems is 8,000 for $100. So you're either buying these off the trading post, which I do believe they're not account bound, so you're buying them, or you're getting them all yourself. This is a $100 mini just for you.
I mean, in the end, if there are people that want to buy it, more power to them. I mean, they are guaranteed, so it's not like it's a gamble. You know, it's if there are people out there, just know that if you want one of these bright shining ones, start saving up your gold, or it's gonna cost you a pretty penny. Like,
now, granted, it's possible when you're opening 75 Black Lion chests, you do get something decent out of it that you might be able to sell and recoup your losses, but still.
You could get the actual, like, one of the new things that are in the new chest, the Griffin Hatchling backpack. So it gives you a backpack and a glider, and you can see it here, Dolphies, which I think is kind of funny that this is a hatchling, a Griffin hatchling that's trying to, like, help you fly, but you're basically gliding. It's like struggling to. But it is an uncommon drop for the duration of the Lion Arrives chest. So I definitely think it's humorous, but
yeah, it's this is one of the silly backpack glider combos that I think is great. Like, this is, yeah, that's amusing. Bog was talking about it. I think it was on Tuesday. I had to work from home, so me and Kristen were watching his stream, and it's just, he's like, I wanted it because it might seem cruel, but just seeing things struggle to carry me around is hilarious. And I think it would look even worse on a Norn.
Yeah.
Like a Norn heavy armor class, just like, I think that's because Bog plays a Norn warrior most of the time. So, yeah, there's that.
And I agree with Chad. I thought the same thing with the Jackal Pup, when you get that as the back piece from. I guess we'll talk about this when we talk about the statuettes, but I wish there was some guaranteed way instead of random chance, but
Dragon magic, hat. Dragon magic. That's how Griffin wings work.
But also, from the previous chest, the Svanir gauntlets will remain in there as uncommon drops for the duration of the Lion Arrives chest. Also, you can get the Merciless weapon collection and the Dragon Jade weapon collection. The Merciless one is an uncommon drop, and the Dragon Jade weapons are rare drops in the new chest. So, definitely good luck trying to get those. Some updates. Luck and finishers are no longer available as drops.
You could get luck out of a Black Lion chest?
Yeah, I don't remember getting luck, but that would kind of be heartbreaking.
Ugh. Open up a friggin' support ticket for that.
The new Tyrion exchange voucher has been added, and it actually has these things in it, which is like you could choose from, like, geodes, bandit crests, airship parts, dungeon tokens, unbound magic, volatile magic and stuff like that. But I'm curious, how do you guys feel about, like, how do you feel about this, and how does chat feel about this? Because this does feel like, the possibility of paying for dungeon currency. Like, this once again feel in the end, dungeon tokens, the armor isn't unique, like the stats on the armor isn't unique, but actually, if you think about it, the sigils and stuff are. So theoretically, you are now paying for power.
This is this is a rare drop, so it's not going to like destabilize people running these things, but yeah, this is this is once again the whole paying for, removing your effort. This is one of the things where we talked about that experience boosters are okay because you still have to do the work to make the boosters work, to make them do anything. This is literally just you paid money and you get the result for no effort.
Yeah. I mean, Chad's seeming like they don't have much of a problem with it, but I was a little worried when I saw the dungeon tokens in there, because that just makes me think of those other games that other games that have dungeon armor that is exclusive, like, stat-wise or something like that, like going after a certain drop, that becomes an issue of pay to win. But since it really relies on skins, but we do have unique runes
Hat, your point about the most effort for a dungeon is finding a group to run them. It's an MMO. Like, you're supposed to interact with other people at least a little bit. So I don't really see, having to interact with other people who play this game as a bad thing. There are plenty of things you can do in this game solo. Plenty. And you can do group content without being in a group. You can just, go to a map and do an event. But dungeons, fractals, raids, you're supposed to interact with people. I know dungeons aren't super hard anymore. I remember what they were like on release. Thank the dark gods, they're not like that anymore. But I don't see that as like a bad thing, having to talk to other people to go do something. And that's basically bypassing one of the functions of an MMO in an item here. And yeah, it's a bonus thing, but it's a rare drop. Like, I don't think this is something you get every chest, right?
No.
So, as far as I can tell, this is something that's going to stay in it. It's not like they're going to remove this from the box. So going forward, people could actually say, oh, I might get one of those things, or they'll stockpile it, and they'll just have a stack of the Tyrian exchange vouchers in their inventory, as long as they stack. Because I would
assume, but yeah.
Let's not assume, because we all know what that means.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to be honest, a key is a bonus thing. If you think about it, Zekriox, I mean, that's kind of what I've always considered it, is getting a Black Lion key. I'm like, oh, roll the dice on what I get out of a box, and I don't really care too much what I get out of it in the first place. So that's me, though. I'm not ever going to try and open a raffle box to try and get something specific.
And
that was the
also,
layup, Deo.
Well, I was going to say, the other thing is the Black Lion commemorative coins rarity has shifted to junk, but that is to make way for the Black Lion statuettes. So, the Black Lion statuettes have arrived. So, you get a statuette with every Black Lion chest. So, and I think you have a chance of getting more, but it's guaranteed one every time. And you can see what the vendor has for them, but they are redeemable directly using the statuette itself or at any Black Lion chest merchant located in every major city. Many items from the Black Lion chests are available, as well as some special offerings. And you can, as you see it there, like a lot of the nodes that we were talking about the other, earlier, stuff like that. But I've seen a lot of people in the comments comparing this to the Elder Scrolls Online crown crates, which basically function the same way of you buy these with real money and you get a chance at something in this box. And I've always said I hope with the commemorative coin thing, I was hoping this would be a precursor for this kind of a system where you could buy after so many things, you could buy the contents of what's in that chest. Well, while they do have some of the things in there, they don't have all the things. Like, you can't theoretically eventually get the Griffin hatchling package. That's not available in there. Like, so it doesn't have everything from the chest. It has some of the things like the nodes and stuff like that. So, like, it's a separate vendor.
It needs to have all of the things.
Yeah.
Like, this needs to be that system where you can get guaranteed progress towards a thing.
Yeah.
That's what this needs to be. And Zachryox, you have a point. The prices can be seen as a problem, but if they're going to leave this system in place, these are long-term processes. They still want you to buy Black Lion chests because they want you to have to, pay them money. And I still buy 5 or so keys every so often because I'm okay with that. But as long as they keep the system running, it is a long-term viable system to push revenue from Black Lion key sales. And they can continually add stuff to the system. They can rotate stuff through the system. I hope it rotates through literally everything. So as long as the Griffin glider backpack thing gets in there eventually, I'll be okay with it. Like, I'm totally understanding of them not having it in there right away, because that's still we want people to gamble on it, and I'm still going to say gamble because I know that that's a whole big thing, but this is a gamble. Because if you say you're going to buy a certain thing for a certain thing and then you don't get the thing, that means you got zero value out of it. But yay, perspective of value. But I could see them rotating the newer stuff in after a few weeks or a month or whenever the next big patch hits. But as long as this system stays in place, as long as they don't change the currency on a semi-regular basis, because that's dumb. Just so very dumb.
I'm pretty sure it sounds like it's here to stay. Like,
well, good. Then it needs to stay. Like, if it's here to stay, then that's fantastic, and I like it. Sure, it's not perfect, but
yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction. Like I said, I'd like to see it more like the ESO's system, where, if you want to save up these things, you're still having to buy the chest. Like, that's like, or the keys for the chest. Like, but if you want to save up all these tokens and wait till it's like, oh, there is something I definitely want in the Black Lion chest, I can use my statuettes finally and deplete my resource. Like, I just don't see a problem in that, instead of going, what, like how you're saying, wow, I really hope they eventually put that in there sometime. Like,
yeah,
it's like, I know it's in the chest, but if I have the statuettes, it's a guarantee for me. Like, I think it's just an easier system for the player to grasp, like how ESOS does it. Oh, these are in the chest, but if I have the currency, I can get them definitely. Like, there is that end game, I can go for it. Not, well, I'll buy Black Lion chests now to get the statuettes and hope it's in there someday. No, that's horrible. So, like I said, I think it's a step in the right direction, but I think it still needs work.
I agree with Mac, though. I think this should just be a currency. Just go talk to a Black Lion trader to open up this inventory. This shouldn't be an item.
Isn't it? He says, I don't want another stupid currency in my back. Oh, in your backpack. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's an item that takes up a slot in your inventory.
Yeah.
Or in your bank, which probably only stacks to 250. Some of these things cost 500.
Yeah. So I agree. If that's the only point for them, yeah, definitely make it a wallet thing. But it seems like that all that stuff takes a while to hopefully trickle down. But I hope eventually it becomes a wallet thing.
But yeah, I kind of agree with you that is an issue, that they didn't put everything in. I understand why they did it, because they want to drive more people to buying the gamble box to get the thing that they want, instead of just, building up the currency and having something new and shiny just the second it comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know. From what I've heard from ESO and the player base there, I don't think they're hurting at all. I mean, so maybe they should, attempt.
Consider it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Because
the only problem is Elder Scrolls ZeniMax. Oh wait, no, it's ZeniMax, and they're a Korean company too, aren't they?
um
Or does
well
ZeniMax not manage ESO anymore?
no, it's ZeniMax Online Entertainment, so it's not Bethesda, because I've always heard that about people going, oh, they should be working on, well, they say
Elder Scrolls
Skyrim
6,
2.
yeah.
I've seen people say Skyrim 2. I'm like, shut up.
Skyrim 2, Skyrim harder.
Yeah. But
Or Skyrim with a vengeance. So ZeniMax
yeah,
is an American
I was
company.
pretty sure ZeniMax was American. It's basically Bethesda, but it's like ZeniMax owns Bethesda, but it's all like,
I like that one better, Mac. Skyrim 2
Electric
Boogaloo.
Boogaloo.
Yeah. But and then we just find out it's another port of Skyrim.
Oh boy.
But I think that's actually kind of a telling issue. Is ZeniMax is an American company, NCSoft is a Korean company. They're Korean, right? Not Chinese?
No, I think they're Korean.
A lot of the stuff that's going on in the gem store that we've been lamenting, very common in Korean MMOs. So
yeah. So it's probably a horrible balancing act. Once again, I don't envy the devs. It's like, and once again, it's like, don't shout at the devs about this. I'm sure they're, I know they have to eat and stuff and like, all that stuff. Like they have to make money. That's a business. But I'm sure they're not sitting here going, how are we going to screw over, like, our player base? I don't think that's...
I've said before, if Guild Wars 2 had a subscription, like an optional subscription service, kind of like Rift does, there are several points in time where I would have been paying that for a few months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I would have done that. So there's that.
Yeah, but it looks like all the finishers have been moved into the statuettes, which, okay, fair enough. It's.
I know I never have to buy any of the holiday finishers, because if you do enough of the holiday content, you'll never run out of them.
Yeah. But
I farmed the Labyrinth like crazy 2 years ago, and I still haven't run out of Halloween finishers.
Yeah. I feel like I have a permanent one after, like, doing all that stuff. But, yeah, I mean, I'd love, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on, do you like the statuette system? Do you want it to be better? Like, do you think the pricing's off? I have to wait and see on the pricing, just because, like you said, Jim, if this is here for keeps, then, having it all in one go shouldn't be a thing either. Like,
right.
But yeah, I definitely think it needs to be put in a wallet, because I didn't even think about that. It's like, I'm saving up 2 stacks so I can get a resource node or something. It's like, no, that's just don't fill up my bags because I'm trying to get something out of your gem store. Like,
well, that's they fill up our bags so we can buy more bag slots.
Yeah, but then I can't get more of your gambling chests or risk chests.
You said it. You said the word.
But yeah, so that's pretty much it for this week. But if you are here live, do stick around. We will be doing a bit of an after show. But Jim, where can they find you?
I can be found on Twitter at MalthanusMMO. You can also find me here on twitch.tv/TalkingSkrit every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a 0 to Hero PvP night. Ranked season is starting up this Tuesday, coming up. And I'm going to try and do something a little different. Normally I do my placement matches on the first 0 to Hero of the season, but I'm going to try and get them done ahead of time. And I'm going to try and get some rank queue done before that, because my MMR gets real wonky when I don't play for a while. And I've been doing WW on 0 to Hero during the off season this run around. So I don't want people to be watching me play, sub 100 point games for a team for the first 5 or 6 matches of the night. So I'm going to try and keep that rolling.
Awesome. And you can find me at simply_day on Twitch and Twitter. And because I tried to update my computer, we talked about this during pre-show, it was very hard, made it very hard to stream and all that stuff. So hopefully I'll be streaming here this coming up week. But yeah, if you are just popping at the very end, do stick around. We will be doing a bit of an after show. If you want to watch us, we do highlight it on Twitch, but we also do have it on our YouTube channel. Just search Talking Skritt. It's usually the first one that pops up. That goes up on Sundays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And I would like to thank personally Maple Syrup and Beers, Serene Virus, Moonkiller NV, Crescent QT, Jaibu Cool, 7-Bit Brian. Oh, why does it change on me? I thought I'd get through that. That Chevron, Host of Ascalon, Sundurai, Claydry, and SOT_podcast for the Twitch hosts this week. And as always, we will see you in the game. Good night, everybody.